It's Friday. I'm ready to do this. I think I'm going to try, okay? We're going to talk about a book. We're going to talk about The Night Guest by Hildur Knútsdóttir. So I read this over the course of like a few nights before I went to bed. I probably could have read it all in like one sitting had I not picked it up right as I was like going to sleep, which is kind of funny given what we're going to talk about in this book. But this is going to be a full spoiler yap session because it's not really a review. I think I'm not going to really be like critically reviewing it. I just want to talk about the things that worked for me and the things that didn't work for me and why this was kind of a disappointment, but a 3-star disappointment. So I had actually watched the live show for this from the Literally Dead book club last year and had the full thing spoiled and was like, oh, maybe I'll push it back on my reading list. And then it came up as available on Libby and I was like, oh, let's give it a go. I need something that I can read at night. It's short. And it doesn't feel like a big investment, and it's fine if I don't like it, and I kind of want to try it out and see if it's maybe something that I will like. So I went ahead and gave it a go, and I completely forgot everything that happened because I thought there is kind of a ghost. I thought there was a ghost. I thought it was like more of like a here's what happened and why this all, and that's not there. That's not there. And I really thought there was going to be more to this than there actually was, and that is the disappointing part, is that there wasn't enough muchness to this. Like, it was very lacking. My question is that because it's translated from Icelandic and something was lost in the translation, or is it just a book that needed to be polished more? This is a Tor book, and I think it's a Tor Nightfire, and I normally love Tor Nightfire. So really quick, what this book does that made me kind of unhappy is it has an open-ended ending, and I have nothing against an open-ended ending. I really liked Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. That has a very open ending, but that open ending was earned. We still got loose threads tied up, right? Everything that was introduced to us throughout the book had an answer pretty much, except for like the ending, which was very open. Okay, Hugin's being obstinate and doesn't want to go upstairs. So if you hear something that sounds like a smoke alarm beeping, it is my dog. It is my dog. I don't know what his problem is. He went outside. He has had dinner. He is chilling. But he's gonna be a smoke alarm. So if you hear a little whistly thing, it's my dog, and we're just gonna roll with it and see what happens. So open-ended endings. Your Shadow Half Remains also has a very open-ended ending, but it tied up the other stuff. It was just the end that was open, and I really enjoyed that. There's some other books that I can't think of recently, like that I can't think of which ones, but I know I read other open-ended endings and been like, oh, okay, like I really would have liked that wrapped up, but I can see why you did that and it still works and it doesn't detract from the story. This ending detracted from the story and I'm frustrated about it. So since I'm holding my Kindle like this, if you see this sticker, this is Harrow the Ninth and it says Live Laugh Lobotomy. I got it from Fanflare Shop on Etsy, so if you want a reflective Live Laugh Lobotomy, that's where I got 90% of these stickers. So since I keep holding it up, in case you ask, I'll put a little screenshot of their Etsy shop because I love that Etsy shop. I bought so much stuff from them. So, okay. So let's talk about The Night Guest. Essentially, the book follows Idun, and she is struggling with sleeping. Not falling asleep, she can fall asleep just fine. It's that she wakes up unrested. She feels tired, like exhausted. She's like moody. Her arms and legs are heavy, her jaw is tight, she's got bruises, all these random things are happening to her, and she doesn't know why. So she's at a doctor's appointment in the beginning, and she is explaining to the doctor, who is a new doctor to her. She's gone through multiples, and she finally requested like someone younger, and so she got someone who is a like medical resident, a very young doctor, and she's actually listening to her. And she's like, okay, I don't see anything that shows up on your chart that is like standing out to me, so what are you concerned about? And she's like, oh my god, I'm so proud of this person who I don't know. Like, and then we get this really casual tone where she's like, as if I'm her like mother Christ, like in parentheses, or her grandmother Christ, like with an exclamation point, italics in the parentheses, right? So we get this casual tone. It's written in first person. I didn't mind that, except for eventually it got to me, and I will get to that. So she basically leaves with feeling like they're going to draw some blood, they're going to do some labs, they're going to see what's going on. And she's like, okay. So then she goes out to dinner with her friends. And at dinner with her friends, they're like all getting her these different things that they think she should try. And eventually someone says to her, you should get a step tracker. So she gets a step tracker, right? She gets a fancy one, and then she turns off everything on it except for the step tracker. I don't know. And there's a weird thing about her like Facebook messaging the company that's selling it a few times. Like, she Facebook messages people a lot, which I found odd because she's like supposed to be kind of like my age, and I don't know anyone who uses Facebook that way or that often. So it was very odd for me. It's like, okay, is this a cultural thing? Like, is this just because I'm American that we don't use it that way? Like, I genuinely thought it was confusing because she kept being like, oh, I go back to Facebook, and I'm like, why are you on Facebook so much? That's so weird. Like, you could have just left it neutral and been like, I go back to social media, and I would have preferred that. Like, using a specific social media really makes it so this book is very stuck in a specific time, and it doesn't feel like it's our time. And I don't know if I like that or not. It wasn't like a major thing where I'm like, oh, this took it from a 4 to a 3.5. No, it just, I was like, that's odd and a little weird. And I wish you had just said, I go back to social media. Like, I don't know. So she gets this step tracker, and she's like, her friend is like, you're supposed to hit 10,000 steps a day. So she hits them almost every day, and she's still exhausted. So she finally one night falls asleep with it on, and it wakes up and she's done like 40,000 steps. She's like, I fell asleep with it at 6,000. So how did I, what? So she thinks it's a problem. That's when she like Facebook messages the company to see if there's a problem with it. She completely resets it, leaves it on her nightstand. It shows up at 0. So then she starts purposefully wearing it to bed to see, and she's like, oh, I'm sleepwalking. Logical thing, right? But then we get or it's her. And I'm like, who the fuck is her? Okay. So then we get this big drop that her sister has died. Like, eventually we get it because she meets this, well, okay, so before that, we know her sister has died. So we're like, is her sister? Is this a possession story? No fucking idea, okay? So she meets this guy called Mar while she's out with her friends because he's like, oh, I thought you were her, meaning her sister, whose name I can't remember, was very close to her name. And I thought you were her. And they're like, her friends are like, oh, no, it's her sister, because apparently her friends are actually like her sister's friends as well, not her friends. So she like has no friends, which is very weird. And I've said this plenty of times before. We're constantly writing books with protagonists with no friends or like one friend. And I don't understand why. Like, give me some diversity, like unless it's a found family story and you're like, you know, the point is to build the friendships. Why do we keep having these like isolated female characters? Like, just why? I don't understand. So they form this like connection. They start talking a bunch, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. Is he gonna hook up with you because like he's still in love with your sister and you guys apparently look alike enough that he like confused the two of you for each other? Because that's weird. And yeah, basically they end up hooking up later on in the story after she discovers she's sleepwalking. But then once she discovers she's sleepwalking, she's like, I can't fall asleep at someone else's house. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, I would be like, no, I sleepwalk. I would have said, hey, I sleepwalk, and I think I do dangerous things to myself because I wake up bruised. So I would have a conversation, right? Like, if I'm comfortable enough to hook up with someone, I'm going to be having that type of conversation with them. Like, but also I'm just a very open person, apparently. If you ask me a question, I am likely to answer it honestly. And I don't know why. Like, even if I really don't like you, which has gotten me in so much trouble over my life. Anyway, so then we find out that she's been, in the past, hooked up with her coworker who is married. And she gives the line where she's like, I was bored and Stefan was there and he offered. And so I said, why the hell not? And I was like, girl, I've been there. That was me in my 20s. I get it. But not with a married man. Like, come on. Like, and so this is where, okay, so we learn all of this kind of at different points. Like, this does the thing that I don't like where it hides things from the reader so that you're like intrigued. You're like, what's gonna happen next? I don't like it that way. I hate when the main character hides something from us. I don't mind it if the main character doesn't know and we are finding out with them, but I really hate it as a plot device when you're like, I know something you don't know, to the reader. Don't do that. It's so annoying. It feels cheap. Okay, this is just me. I know some people don't mind it. If you read a lot of mysteries, maybe you're more used to it. I don't like it. It's like, it feels cheap. It feels like you didn't know how to solve this problem or how to make us, so you just like didn't want to tell us. And I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
She finally turns on the GPS on her step tracker, which I would have done the first time that it showed 40,000 steps. I would be like, we're turning on this bitch's GPS. I probably would have left it on anyway. Like, mine has this GPS, not just because I'm a nosy bitch and I like to see things. I like data. So she finally turns it on, and she's like got all these different tracks from like tens of nights, and they all overlap this like one spot. So she goes to it in the middle of the I think the day the first time that she comes in the middle of the night, and I'm like, bitch, what? Like, she stays up all night and then walks there, and I'm like, bold. Like, but then I live in America, and it's probably safer in Iceland. So anyway, moving on. Then we get the reveal of the shed. Okay, so here's a content warning, animal cruelty, skip ahead. So to this point, okay, if you don't want to hear about it, I'm not going to do super detailed, but the book isn't either. But she opens it up and there is one of the neighbor's cats hanging from the ceiling, dead. And then suddenly there's all these other dead cats. And like piles of blood. And I was like, and then I'm like, okay, why? And then she's like, was it me or was it her? I'm like, who the fuck is her? Like, and then, okay, we were done with the animal cruelty thing, right? So then we're like, she goes, I guess I should have noticed the neighborhood cat's missing. Bitch, you told us in the beginning you knew all of them by name. Like, you knew all their names, you knew all their colors, you knew all their owners, you knew every single cat in your neighborhood because you're allergic and you love cats. Like, but you can't have one. So you knew all the neighbors' cats. And you're like, the neighbors' cats are being kind of afraid of me. I would have been like, that, you're hiding, as the author, you were hiding it from us. You didn't say, I hadn't seen this cat in a while. And then she's like, oh yeah, I did see all of the like Facebook posts of the missing cats. Why didn't we see that? You just kept it from us? Like, did you come up with that after and you wrote it in instead of going back and editing? You were just like, oh yeah, she'd been seeing all these like missing cat things and just brushed them off. So then we're done with the cat story, with the cat line. We're done with that, right? So she does try to like lock herself in the apartment. She buys like a heavy padlock and she like breaks her fingernails trying to get it open and stuff. And then she like tapes the GPS tracker to her leg. I don't even know why at this point because we know where you're going. Why are you doing this? And it's like gouged off of her, like all this stuff, right? So that it can, the thing, whatever it is, can like make her walk to this place. Okay, so throughout the backstory of this, her and the guy that she hooked up with are having like flirty messages. And they have these flirty messages and then she like hooks up with him, like I said. And then the second time she hooks up with him, she gets kind of drunk and then she hadn't slept in like multiple days. And so she then just kind of just like, it ends. Like it ends with them like making out on the couch and it jumps to the next scene. And I was like, okay. And then it's like, I don't know what I've done. Let me see if I can find it for you because there's a lot of these like one sentence chapters. Okay, so before they like start making out on the couch, he comments on her weight and that she's lost weight. And so then she like stuffs herself at dinner to prove that she's not like got an eating disorder. And I was like, that's okay, sure, I guess. And then she's like, I'm too full to have sex. So we sit on the couch and talk. And he starts like rubbing her feet. And because the only thing they have in common is her sister, he starts asking her like all these questions about her sister that died. And that's where we like learn the most about her sister. We have no idea how long ago she died, or like we know that she like drowned through like hints in the story. So then it ends with, I move closer to him, I lean toward him, and I kiss him on the mouth. And then the chapter ends. I wake up in my bed. I'm afraid to call him. I'm going to send him a message, but I don't know what happened. What should I say? What tone should I use? These are all new chapters. Then it shows the text that she sent. Dear Mar, I don't quite remember how last night ended. I think I drank a little too much. If I crossed any lines, I apologize for that. New chapter. He does not answer. New chapter. He does not answer. New chapter. He does not answer. New chapter. Surely he has not. Ellipses. New chapter. Surely I have not. Ellipses. New chapter. I call him. He hangs up without speaking. At first I'm relieved, because at least he's alive, but then the relief gives way to something else. A darkness carves through my chest in a downward spiral. New chapter. I call him back, again and again, and then again and again and again. I put my phone on the table, I turn on the TV, but I keep an eye on my phone constantly. I'm watching it when the screen lights up and beeps. My heart is pounding when I see that the message is from Mar. Stop calling me. Stop sending me messages. Leave me alone, or I'll call the police. New chapter. And then that plot line ends. We have no idea what she did. Like, I mean, it shows up later. I guess it shows up later, kind of, but we still don't know what she did that upset him so much. Because then we get more cats disappearing. So now we're getting told that the cats are disappearing. And then her boss, not her boss, but the guy that she was hooking up with at work starts messaging her. He's been messaging her in the background of this, like, I miss you, all this stuff. So she finally decides, I think this is when she decides she's going to stay awake. And, like, she stays awake for multiple nights. And she decides to stay at the office late one night to help her stay awake. And then she falls asleep at her desk for like 20 minutes, wakes up and sees that he's still at work. So he's like, come on, come out for drinks. And she's like, okay, just to get him off my back, I'll go have a drink with him. So he gets her a drink, and then she's like, okay, what did you want to talk about? And he's like, no, drink your drink first. And I'm like, girl, don't drink that drink. This is so obvious. And he's like, well, try your drink first. So she tries it, and he's like, the bartender said it might be a little bit bitter because they're trying a different rum. And she's like, oh, it's not that bad actually, and hands him one, and he just like touches his lips to it. And I'm like, girl, don't drink that drink. So then she drinks the drink, right? And it's drugged. For whatever reason, genuinely don't know. Really don't know why he chose to drug her, because all he does is talk about how he's missed her, but he's never shown any, like, she said he got aggressive when she broke up with him, but like nothing to be like violent. He just got like mean. And I'm like, why is he suddenly trying to drug you? And so then it's like, let me find the chapter, okay? Because this is the part where it kind of lost me. So here's the end of that chapter, right? So she starts to feel kind of funny, and she's like, she slurs out, what the hell? I try to stand, but my legs won't support me. I try to ask to go to the hospital, but what comes out is spiral. He tightens his grip so I don't slip to the floor. There we go, he says, a little breathless. My head sags to the side, resting on my shoulder. The last thing I see are my legs, the right one dragging along the floor like it's paralyzed while Stefan carries me out. New chapter. I wake up in my bed. My hands are covered in blood. New chapter. I'm afraid to call Stefan. New chapter. You look so much better than yesterday, says Stina, her coworker who's very nosy. When I come to work. Did you sleep well? I mumble something into my chest while slouching away. It goes on. And then just before noon, Stina comes to me, obviously bursting with gossip. She bends close and whispers, Stefan has disappeared. New chapter. I sleep, I wake, the day passes. New chapter. I sleep, I wake, the day passes. New chapter. Like, I didn't mind it so much, except for I think the repetition kind of started to get to me. My phone rings. A woman introduces herself as Thora Hjálmsdóttir, a police detective. She asks me to come to the station after work. So she gets interrogated about Stefan, and they're like, yeah, no, he probably just took off. It's fine, right? So then her friend / sister's friend, Linda, calls her and says, have you seen the news? New chapter. Mara is missing. New chapter. So she's gone back to the shed because she's like, oh shit, did I put them in that shed? So she goes back to the shed, and she finds, I think she passes out when she gets there because okay. I stand by the high fence. Inside it, I can make out the shape of the shed. The dot where all the lines overlap from the GPS. Overlapped. I climb up over the fence, then I go to the shed. It's empty. The puddle has even disappeared, evaporated. I go out again, look around me. One of the shipping containers is open. Its door half ajar. Inside the doorway is darkness, and I know immediately. I turn the flashlight on and walk inside. New chapter. So she basically passes out because she sees Stefan with like a big wound on his neck. He's hanging from the ceiling with his throat cut, okay? So she passes out, my head hits the floor. She wakes to like the smell of like salt water and kelp and iron, and then she sees like the flashlight that I guess she brought with her. And then she uses it, shines it around the shed, and sees Mar tied and gagged in the corner. And she's like, on his face I see fear of her, fear of me. And then she's like, someone's muttering in the darkness. The voice is familiar, and I feel the hair on the back of my neck rise. I clench the flashlight and then turn around carefully. New chapter. She is sitting on her haunches in the corner next to the door. I assume it's her sister, but we still don't know. Like, if it's, because she only refers to her as her, never like my sister or her name, her. So it could be a different person. Like, it could be her being possessed by something else. This could be like, I don't know. So this girl, this woman, shows her to where a sharp thing is so she can cut Mar free. She puts the person on her back, and they walk out into the ocean. And that's the end. And I was like, okay, so, okay, I'm so confused. I was like, all right, so is this a hallucination, or is this actually like a ghost? Are we doing a ghost story, or is this actually like, are you hallucinating this like other person because you're so grief-stricken over your sister? But then she talks in the past about how like it's happened before, and I'm like, before your sister died or after? Like, what did you ever you had a sister, right? Or like, you had to, because these people knew her. So what why did you kill one man but tie the other one up? And what did you do to him in his apartment? Like, when did you go back to him again? Like, what? I'm lost on the motivation of the character, okay? So in Your Shadow Half Remains, everything is very wibbly wobbly because we have like a virus going on. We have an unreliable narrator. We have all of this trauma happening. And it's literally just because of the type of scenario that is happening that everything is mishmashed and wishy-washy, right? And our main character consistently asks, am I losing my mind? Like, was I exposed? Is something happening to me? Our main character is very concerned about everything. Like, she doesn't know what's happening. So it's not that like she's just kept it from us, it's that she doesn't know. And this one, she knows, she's just not telling us. Like, she knows some things, but the things that she does know, we don't get to be told. We don't even get to know like anything about, like I said, how long ago her sister died. We don't know like when she says this happened before, with the sleepwalking, the not getting any sleep. Were you killing people before? Like, what do you mean? And I'm so frustrated because I'm like, okay, so your sister drowned in the harbor and you have been possessed. Did you drown your sister? Did you drown your sister? Or did you tie that man up to get back at him for something you think he did to your sister? Like, genuinely, what was the point of him in this story? Other than for you to be able to info dump to us about your relationship with your sister, which if it's in first person and you're grieving your deceased sister, you could have just info dumped us any other way. Like, we could have got journal entries, we could have got conversations with parents, we could have got, because she goes to dinner with her parents all the time. We don't see her interacting with her friends. I was very confused and very frustrated. The other thing that really bothered me, I found it funny the first time. Mar does not try to make me change my mind, in parentheses. What a prince. Okay. In the next one, it says, or at least, hell, Stefan would have benefited from maybe getting some tips from Mar, in parentheses. He is a prince. And then his hair is not thinning. He is a prince, in parentheses, but not like the British type, which I actually kind of chuckled at that a little bit. And then there's another one. Mar is a gentleman, in parentheses, and a prince, and always with an exclamation point at the end. And like the first two were kind of funny, but then there's a fifth one. It's like, but he's a gentleman and a prince. And I'm like, stop. On the last one, I literally like groaned. I was like, stop, I can't anymore. It was funny. It's like that person who gets one laugh from something and just repeats it over and over and over again. And occasionally guilty, but if I'm writing it, I'm like, no, I'm doing it too many times, right? Like everyone is guilty of it sometimes, but this is why you have an editor. Like, girl, stop. It's like when those Family Guy jokes would go on too long, like, and it's just, it's not funny anymore. And it's just, I lost it on the last one. I was like, bro, if this book doesn't do something interesting soon, and I kept waiting for it to do something interesting. It's like that the meme with the stick. Come on, do something. Like, I was just waiting for something to happen. And I think that was kind of the biggest disappointment about it. And that's the thing, it's just disappointing. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terribly written. Like, it lost my interest, and then it didn't give me a satisfying ending. And I finished it because I was like, it's only 200 pages and it's reading really fast, because a lot of those pages are one sentence on the page. So it was reading really fast, which was what I needed. Like, I just need something chill because I was in the middle of two pretty hefty audiobooks. I just wanted something chill. And I think it could have really done some interesting stuff. And I'll probably try to read more from this author, because there's a couple of like highlights that I have that I want to share because I did enjoy them. So I think her sense of humor overall does work for me, because this was kind of funny in a lot of ways. And it had some very good points about how women are treated in the medical field, not in the by people in the medical field, and how like societal expectations of women to always be on, kind of like be what your parents want and be the person that fits good in the friend group and have like all of these different things going. And then when one thing happens to your health, it can really like kind of throw everything else just out. There is nothing in here where I ever saw that she was happy or doing what she wanted. She was doing her career because her parents told her to after her sister passed away. This was the career that was chosen for her. She wanted to be, I think she said, an architect or an architectural engineer or something, but her sister wanted to be in business. So when her sister passed away, her parents said, you're going to go to school for business. So finding what she wanted in life, and like she like had these relationships with these men because they were there and she was bored. And I've done that. I get it. Like, it's like she never really knew who she was, and so it makes me wonder what it's trying to do. And I think it had some good things that it brought up. Some of them were heavy-handed, Like the sexual harassment in the workplace stuff was very heavy-handed, but it's not inaccurate, and it wasn't out of place in the book. It just needed a little more polish, and I do think this writer could do something really good, and I'm gonna probably read more from her. I just think it was missing that ending. I needed an answer. Like, even if you'd said her, my sister, come back for what I did to her, I would have been like, oh, okay. That all it would have taken is like a single line, or my sister using me to get retribution. I would have done that. Why the cats? Why the cats? That's the thing. Okay, so I've said before, I don't necessarily, animal cruelty and death is not a deal breaker for me for books if it is done for a purpose to the story, and if it's done with sensitivity and empathy. If it's done with empathy, I feel like it can sometimes add to the story. There is Pet Sematary, right, is one of the most popular books that has an animal death in it. And it is done to bring you to a moral conundrum. It's there for that purpose. And there's so much empathy around the death of animals in that book. Cujo, right? Another one that Cujo made me sob, because so many parts of that book are from the perspective of the dog who is infected with rabies. And it is heartbreaking to see this dog losing its grip on reality, on its personality. That was heartbreaking for me. And it is there not to be like, oh, look at me, I'm so edgy, I gave a dog rabies and made it kill people. It's there for you to grasp the intensity of the situation. And like, and the choices you make have impacts. And I think a lot about, there's a scene in The Only Good Indians where Lewis's dog gets hit by a train and is not going to make it. And one of the guys that's his like coworkers helps him move the dog, and he gets bit by the dog. And he's like, Lewis is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like thinking they're gonna make him put the dog down and stuff. And the guy's like, no, when the whole world hurts, you bite it. And I like, that was there for that like moment, for that line, and for that like empathetic thing of all of these guys crowding around to help him help his dog. Like, it was there for an emotional impact and to drive the story and for a purpose. The cats, there was no purpose. They didn't do anything other than because there was no answer. It's like, oh, the one thing I loved in my life was knowing the neighborhood cats. So she made me kill them for what I did to her. We don't know enough about her relationship with her sister to know if her sister hates her that much and that's why she made her do it, or if it was her, like actual Idun, doing it. We really don't know. And that's the thing that bothers me, because all it would take is a line here and there at the ending. Like, because even it says when she saw her sister, or I'm assuming her sister, when I saw her, I knew what she wanted me to do. You could have had a conversation. You could have had anything that you could have given the explanation. It would have had those scenes have so much more impact. And there was nothing. There was no, like, you have to make your own conclusions. And I am not, like, I like having to make my own conclusions, but in something like this, I don't want to have to make all of them. I don't want to have to be like, did you mean to do it? Like, did you tie up Mar because your sister was like, he was mine first and you can't have him, so I'm taking him from you? Like, if I can't have him anymore, no one can? Or was it you and you tied him up because you were like, oh, he only wanted me because I looked like my sister, so I'm going to get back at him? Like, or is there some other reason that I'm missing there too? Like, I need to know why you were doing these things. Like, I don't want there to be 6 different options depending on my interpretation of the story. That is fine in a short story. If it was like 10 pages, 15 pages, sure, fine. Not in a 200-page book. I should have some sort of resolution on at least part of the plot, okay? But I did like a couple of the lines. So there's one in the beginning where she's talking about her allergy to cats, and she says, I know the world's sorrows are both abundant and profound, and that a cat allergy is perhaps insignificant in the larger scheme of things, but there is something so unfair about loving cats and being relegated to do so from a distance. Felt. Like, I have a really bad cat allergy. Felt. And I also just really like the phrasing and stuff. And then she talks about how she's like having a conversation with her friends, and she feels like, well, the friend group, but she doesn't feel like she's a part of it. And she feels like whenever she says something, it throws off the groove of the conversation. And so she often sits there not saying anything. And she said, this time she did say something. She's like, this will always happen. Everyone will be having a good chat until I say something wrong and feel as though I've been exposed as the alien in the group. Ta-da! Did you think I was one of you? Like, I get that feeling, but that was like our only glimpse into like who she is socially, and I don't think we got enough of her for it to work with this length. I liked There's Nothing in the World More Tragic Than an Undeserved Hangover because felt. And yeah, I only highlighted a few things because they're just, yeah, there wasn't a lot, but I do, like I said, I do want to read more from her if more of her work gets translated. But I think overall, it was just a letdown and I'm upset. Hence me yapping for 38 minutes about a 200-page book. So if you've read this, please talk to me about it because I need to talk to somebody about it because I just need to know what you thought happened, what you thought the ending was about, because I was disappointed. So anyway, on that note, I'm gonna go work on this because my shelves are coming tomorrow morning between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And I have a lot to get off these shelves so that I can pack them up, and I gotta make space in my garage to move the boxes into because they're just gonna deliver them into my driveway, and then I've got to move them. So hopefully I have to sign for them so that I can open my garage door at least. They don't lean them on my garage door. So that's gonna be the thing I don't want. So I will see you soon with something else. Let me know your thoughts on all of this because I'm very curious.